What is up, everybody? This is Vinny Van Patten, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the best books that I've read in a long time on creativity, and it's The Creative Act, A Way of Being by the record producer Rick Rubin. And he's not known as being an author, but this book apparently took him like over 5 years, and it's just an incredible book that doesn't really tell much about his life, really anything at all. It's purely about the creative act and just many lessons on creativity and making quality art that really just expresses who you are. And in this video, I want to just go through some of my favorite lessons from the book and how they actually relate to the book that I'm writing. So how I'm using these lessons and what I've learned about the creative act and how I'm applying that to writing my third book, which is my first stab at fiction, and it's based on my experiences teaching English in Japan. I lived in Japan for 2.5 years, and it was the most unbelievable period of my life. And now I am writing a book based on those experiences. So it's 2.5 years that I was there, and the book takes place over 2 years, and it's just throwing everything I love about Japan, all the experiences I had into one cohesive novel. But then I decided to make it fiction because I want to let my imagination just run and allow myself to have fun with it without having to stick to the nonfiction format and just stick to being exactly what happened to me. My first two books were travel memoirs. I call them creative nonfiction books. And the first one, Arrows of Youth, was about me going on this road trip through California and the Pacific Northwest. And it also forays into just philosophy, spirituality, literature, things that I'm interested in and was kind of grappling with at that time. And the second book tells the journey of the 3 months I spent in Europe right before I left for Japan in 2022, working at a hostel in Lisbon, Portugal, and then on a farm in Calabria, Italy. So the first two books have been travel memoirs and just, me telling these stories. But this next one, it's going to be more imaginative, a little bit of magic sprinkled in there, and just everything I love about Japan. And reading this book as I'm writing was hugely influential. It inspired me a great amount. So without further ado, let's dive into some of my favorite lessons from the Creative Act. The first, follow enthusiasm. So I will just kind of state the topic, and then I'll read a passage from the book, and then I will talk about how it relates to my creative process and writing my own book. So follow enthusiasm. When a plant is flourishing, we can see the life spring forth from every stalk, leaf, and flower. How do we know when an idea is flourishing? Often the most accurate signposts are emotional, not intellectual. Excitement tends to be the best barometer for selecting which seeds to focus on. When something interesting starts to come together, it arouses delight. It's an energizing feeling of wanting more, a feeling of leaning toward. Follow that energy. And I could say without a doubt that is the truth. Like, I have been in this writing game for nearly a decade. I started when I graduated from college, and I traveled for the first time, and I realized, like, wow, all I want to do is travel and write stories about it, because I studied journalism in college and I didn't like journalism at all. But then once I started just writing about what I wanted to do with my life and also writing stories about travel, I realized that creative writing is really what I'm passionate about. And I wake up early every day excited to get back to the book because it just brings me so much joy to write and to go through these experiences I had in Japan and to tell a story that I think is quite interesting. So it's something that you feel in your body. It's, you know, it's excitement. It is like there's no other way to describe it. Words can't describe what the emotion is. It's just like you have energy, you gain something, you want to follow this inclination, and you don't know where it's going to lead, but it feels good in your body. And that is, as he says, a great barometer of what we should be doing with our lives. So follow enthusiasm. The second one, the journey to the making. Our thoughts, feelings, processes, and unconscious beliefs have an energy that is hidden in the work. This unseen, unmeasurable force gives each piece its magnetism. A completed project is only made up of our intention and our experiments around it. Remove intention, and all that's left is the ornamental shell. Though the artist may have a number of goals and motivations, there's only one intention. This is the grand gesture of the work. It is not an exercise of thought, a goal to be set, or a means of commodification. It is a truth that lives inside you. Through your living it, that truth becomes embedded in the work. If the work doesn't represent who you are and what you're living, how can it hold an energetic charge? Not all projects take time, but they do take a lifetime. In calligraphy, the work is created in one movement of the brush. All the intention is in that single concentrated movement. The line is a reflection of the energy transfer from the artist's being, including the entire history of their experiences, thoughts, and apprehensions, into the hand. The creative energy exists in the journey to the making, not in the act of constructing. And I think that one is so cool that the creative act is in the journey to the making, not in the making itself. Like I was saying with the first two books, they're based on real experiences because I write not just because I love writing. I do love words and putting stories together, but I love living, and I love living interesting experiences that I think we can all have, if we're courageous and we follow our inclinations. And I think it's so cool, like the creative act is in daily life. It's the experiences we have. It's not exactly sitting down to write the book. It's having to sit down. It's having something to sit down and write about. And I blogged the entire time for 2.5 years while I was in Japan. I blogged about my entire life since college. Everything I experienced, I pretty much write about online. And I have a Substack now, vincentvanpatten.substack, and I'm on Medium, and I have a website. And I just can't not write about something. If I have a cool experience, I have to tell the story because it helps me understand it. And I just think, that's basically it, why I do it. It helps me understand it, and it feels like a release of something that's inside of me, of creative energy to get it out into the world. And the experiences come first. So I wrote about everything I experienced in Japan, and now I'm just going through the stories that I wrote, and I'm able to make that into a cohesive book. But if I didn't do that, if I didn't live the experience, if I didn't have the nerve to go live in Japan, the story would be pretty impossible. So I just love the idea that the creative energy exists in the journey to the making, not in the act of constructing. Next one. Art can only capture a moment in time. In the abundant world, we have a greater capacity to complete and release our work. When there are so many ideas available and so much great art to make, we are compelled to engage, let go, and move forward. An album is only a diary entry of a moment in time, a snapshot reflection of who the artist is for that period, and no one diary entry is our life story. Yeah. I had somebody recently read my second book, and he gave me some feedback, and he said maybe some things like, he's like, I know you already published it. I self-published on Amazon, and he's like, but maybe you could do this and like even change the title or just kind of run with this idea. And I'm like, I do like the idea, and I appreciated him reading the book a lot, but I'm past it now. I'm not the same person I was when I wrote about my experiences in Europe. I'm not even the same person I was just when I was living in Japan, but that's the project I'm working on right now. And that second book, it doesn't need to be perfect. You know, I don't need to go back and rewrite it or anything. All it was a snapshot of a moment in time, a diary entry of me at 26 years old, living in Europe, flaws and all, getting into mischief. And I think that's a great way to look at it. That's the abundance mentality, that I don't have to work for 20 years on this book just because I want it to be a big deal. I want to make a splash. I want it to be perfect. All it could be is a moment in time. So work on it, do your best, get it out into the world, and move on. I think it's the Tao Te Ching. Well, it is the Tao Te Ching, but I think the line goes something like, the artist does her work and moves on. As simple as that. It's not holding on to something for it to be perfect. It's getting it out when it's good enough. Because then you have time and you have space to move on to the next thing. Like, I feel like I have to finish my Japan book because that will make space for whatever comes next. So that's the abundance mentality instead of the scarcity mentality, which is like, I don't know if I'm going to have another good idea. This book has to be perfect. It's like, no. The best ideas are yet to come. The best experiences are yet to come. Stay open, do your work, get it out, and move on. Next one. Non-competition. Comparison is the thief of joy, by Teddy Roosevelt. That's a quote by him. Being made happy by someone else's best work and then letting it inspire you to rise to the occasion is not competition, it's collaboration. Think of self-competition as a quest for evolution. The object is not to beat our other work, it's to move things forward and create a sense of progression, growth over superiority. Our ability and taste may evolve, yielding different works over time, but none can be evaluated as more or less than another. They are different snapshots of who we are and who we were. They are all our best work in the moment they were created. And that's huge in the writing world and creating art and doing anything at all. Comparison. I definitely compare myself to other writers who I think are bigger than I am, well, on making money, or their books are getting published by big publishers or something. I'm like, damn, what do I got to do to get to that point? But then I'm like, I write in a different way. I'm a different person having different experiences. All I could do is my work, create art because I love it, do it for me. And what's meant to happen will. That's the point. We're just competing against ourselves, and it's progression, it's growth. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The next one is essence. In the end, the sum total of the essence of our individual works may serve as a reflection. The closer we get to the true essence of each work, the sooner they will somehow, at some point in time, provide clues as to our own. And I think that's such a great idea too. Like, I'm 30 years old, writing my third book, and if I stay at this rate, I'll have a nice body of work by the time I'm an old man. And I just think that's so cool to be able to look back at my life through these books that I've written. And each book is a chapter in the book of my life, and it tells a story. And that's the story of me. And when you boil it down, distill the essence out of all the work, like what rises to the surface, that's who I am. That's the experience that I had on planet Earth. And I think that's such a beautiful idea. And that, to me, is why we create, to understand ourselves to glimpse, if however briefly, our own essence, the truth that lives in all of us, and just to be able to understand ourselves better. Next one. Expect a surprise. Set aside the outline, write with no map, and see what happens. The premise you start with could develop into something more. Something you couldn't have planned and would never have arisen if you were locked into following a particular script. This is a big one as I'm writing this book because, I'm following a script. I'm following the stories that I've already written through Japan, but then sometimes I'm like, okay, let's just try to put the script aside and put myself into the position of these characters. Like, what would happen? Follow that. And it's a beautiful act of exploration of just being like, what happened here, and see where it goes. And I've already been several things that I kind of had planned to take place in the book, but then I did this and just kind of let it happen, and it turned into like some of the coolest ideas that I've had for it. And I mean, it's the same thing with life. It's expect a surprise. Put aside the roadmap and just see what happens. Put yourself in the position for something to happen, and then just go. Next one. Faith. Faith is rewarded, perhaps even more than talent or ability. When we don't yet know where we're going, we don't wait. We move forward in the dark. If nothing we attempt yields progress, we rely on belief and will. We may take several steps backward in the sequence to move ahead. I got it tattooed on my arm here. Or can you see it? Keep the faith. Yeah, anyways. That relates to my journey with mind-body healing and healing my body. Because for years I didn't know what was going on with me. And I had to keep the faith because I was in my 20s. My body felt broken. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? And I kept the faith. It wasn't hope. Hope is different. Hope is like, I hope something happens. I hope I get better. Faith is that I have faith that there's a greater plan in store, that things will work out the way that they are meant to. It's not waiting. It's already knowing. That's having faith. So faith is that I don't know how things are going to go, but I'm still going to push ahead. I'm still going to move into the great unknown with courage and joy and light, and see where the hell we go. So have faith. Have faith in believe in yourself. In the creative process, in life, keep going. Even when you don't see a reason or when you don't see a light. As Rumi says, if you look around and all is dark, you might be the light. Something like that. Challenges. There may be a beneficial purpose behind the issue at hand. There's no way to know. We can only flow with the challenges as they come and keep an open mind, with no baggage, no previous story to live up to. We simply begin from a neutral place, allow the process to unfold, and welcome the winds of change to guide the way. Yeah. Challenges. Challenges are the nectar of life. That is from Michael Singer, who's a very spiritual man, author. Challenges the nectar of life. They are. They make us dig deep and fight back and, help us understand ourselves and what we're capable of. There's always got to be a purpose to the challenge. It's hard to see that sometimes when you're in it, but it has proven to be true in my life again and again. So if you're going through something, believe that there is a beneficial purpose to what you're experiencing. All right. Freedom. Deciding what to say in advance doesn't allow whatever's best to come. Meaning is assigned once an inspired idea is followed through. It's best to wait until the work is complete to discover what it is saying. Holding your work hostage to meaning is a limitation. Works that attempt to overtly preach a message often don't connect as hoped, while a piece not intended to address a societal ill may become an anthem for a revolutionary cause. Art is far more powerful than our plans for it. I think that's such a cool idea. Wait until the work is done to understand what it's saying. As I'm writing this book, I'm like, okay, what's the climax? What's the meaning? What's the payoff? And I've discovered what these things are as I've gone. I've discovered what the book's about as I've gone through writing it. You definitely can't know these things right out of the gates. You have to explore and see what shines through as you do. It's like, okay, this is my message, and I have to make it clear that, as he's saying, often has the opposite effect. It has less of a potency, rather than, I wasn't actually trying to say that, but that's what came through, the essence of the work. That was the message. And I think that is incredibly beautiful. Sensitivity. For those called to art who do struggle with an overwhelming sensitivity, the creative process can have a therapeutic power. It offers a sense of deep connection, a safe place to voice the unspeakable and bare their soul. In these cases, art does not unravel the maker, but makes them whole. Although the character of the tortured artist tends to live more in mythology than in reality, this does not mean that art comes easily. It requires the obsessive desire to create great things. This pursuit doesn't have to be agonizing. It can be enlivening. It's up to you. And I've realized, particularly in the last few years, that I am incredibly sensitive to others and the world around me and to pain. And I think that is why I've had chronic pain in my body. It's because as a kid, I was super sensitive and started storing energy in me, and it turned into actual physical pain. And I'm still super sensitive, and it's why I just feel things deeply. I feel pain more, but I see so much love and light in the world. And your sensitivity is your power. It really is. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. I have, and it has completely changed my life so much. It's who we are. If you're a sensitive person, let it shine. The art habit. If you're looking for the work to support you, you may be asking too much of it. We create in a service to art, not for what we can get from art. You may yearn for success as a way to leave an unfulfilling job and support yourself through your passion. This is a reasonable goal. However, if the choice is between making great art and supporting yourself, the art comes first. Consider another way to make a living. Success is harder to come by when your life depends on it. Art is an unstable career path for most. Financial reward often comes in waves, if at all. Some artists might have a vision for what they want to create, but may feel restrained because they don't believe it will pay the bills. It's okay to have a job that supports your art habit. Doing both is a better way of keeping the work pure. There are jobs that demand your time, but little else. You can protect the art you make by choosing an occupation that gives you mental space to formulate and develop your creative vision of the world. You can also pursue an unrelated career that provides security while keeping art as a hobby. A hobby, that's the most important thing in your life. All paths are of equal merit. And I love that because that's been the greatest dilemma of my 20s. Coming out of college, I want to pursue my passion, but I also want to make money. I want to have a job and a career and stuff. And I've tried to marry the two, and I haven't lost hope. I believe I can one day get to a place where I am living my dream life, writing books, and not having to have a job that I don't like or anything like that. It's like, I have faith that things will happen the way they're meant to. But it's going to take time. It's already been a decade, and it could take many more until I get there. But it's a journey. And I'm definitely not opposed to the idea of working jobs that you have to do to pay the bills. And then, I've worked as an English teacher in Japan. I worked at a coffee shop in Oakland. Worked at a restaurant in San Diego. hostel in Lisbon, clothing store in LA. I worked in real estate for like 3 years. I'm still trying stuff, and that journey is not over. So, and I like the idea that it's like you have so much more freedom. My favorite thing out of all of that was working at a coffee shop because I liked the craft of it. I liked working with my hands, meeting people, creating something beautiful, creating art, not just the art lattes, but the whole atmosphere is a form of art of a coffee shop that people want to be in, that feels good, a safe space. And I loved it. And then, it took up none of my time after work, and I could just work on my book and work on my other passions. And I think that's a great way to go. So yeah, there's no shame at all in working a job to support your art habit that happens to be the most important thing in your life, as it is for me. Yes. Okay. I'm going to finish with just a few beautiful quotes from the book. The reason we're alive is to express ourselves in the world, and creating art may be the most effective and beautiful method of doing so. Art goes beyond language, beyond lives. It's a universal way to send messages between each other and through time. The reason we're alive is to express ourselves in the world. Oh man, I stand by that. We're here to experience life and to express the way life moves us, Everything else follows. And it's hard to embody that and not get trapped by everything else we think we have to be chasing in life. But as my man Robert Greene says in his book Mastery, within all of us, there is a seed that is planted at our birth. And it's our life's task to bring that seed to fruition, bring that seed to blossom. And through expressing, we understand ourselves and we understand our purpose in this world. I think that's just an interesting idea. Like, it's a universal way to send messages between each other and through time. Like, what we create today could be stumbled upon by our descendants in hundreds of years, and to get a glimpse of what life meant to us back then, right now, it's just such a fascinating thing. And that's all I want to do with my life, is to create physical, real things that last and that say something about who I am, who I got to be in my life. And I feel that's why I'm here, The next one, quite similar, but quote, think to yourself, I'm just here to create. I'm just here to create. So do it. Last one. When we're making things we love, our mission is accomplished. There's nothing at all to figure out. Man, it can feel sometimes like there's so much to figure out. But I'm working on something that I love. I got this book that has been an anchor in my life. Writing has been the craziest anchor in my life through all of my challenges and all these years of wading through the unknown. Writing has been what I've always come back to. It has changed my life, made me who I am. It's what I love, and I'd do it for the rest of my life, even if I don't make any money from it. Because my art habit, is the most important thing in my life. I love writing so much. I love reading. I know there's so much room to grow. And I'm just excited, And that's a good place to live in. So I'll leave you with that. The creative act, a way of being, by the legendary Rick Rubin. He's such a cool dude. I've listened to him on many podcasts, and he just seems like Yoda. He's just very wise and chill and just like calm. And he's a beautiful soul, beautiful man. Highly, highly recommend this book. Rick Rubin, you the boss. All right, y'all. Much love. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.